Hello, welcome. I'm Nick.
I'm Jackson.
I'm Noah.
I'm Tyler.
And I'm Seahawks.
From Top Notch Sports, and today, welcome to the No Fly Zone, Week 4, Episode 2 of the No Fly Zone podcast. This is where all the dreams come true. Top Notch Sports, get the merch, coming soon. All right, listen, Episode 2, we had a good, successful Episode 1. It's showtime, ladies and gentlemen, and our first topic of discussion to kick this off is going to be Detroit Lions. Now, real fast, before we go to the Lions, I want to mention this. You're going to see some of these people come and go. We're going to have people getting added to the podcast and leaving the podcast. So right now, Noah's a Lions expert on the channel. We're going to go right away to the Detroit Lions. So the first topic of discussion for this podcast is, will the Detroit Lions be able to win that division? Okay, the NFC North. So Noah, I'm going to let you take it away first. What did you see last week and going forward? And ultimately, we'll wrap up at the end of this video. We'll all have our prediction. But right now, just looking at the Lions from what you've been seeing, what are your thoughts on them?
I think it's going to be a close fight. Honestly, I think it's going to be a close fight between us and Green Bay. I don't think Minnesota's got it. I think, they've already dropped, 3 games already? And I just think it's going to continue to spiral downfield there. I think Green Bay is looking really nice, which is kind of what I predicted. I kind of thought, Jordan Love sitting behind Rodgers for a few years, he's gonna learn some stuff. I think their offense looks great. Their defense looks really good. I feel like they're one of the teams that if they can stay healthy and everything can kind of click for them, they can be at, anywhere from 9 wins to hell, even 11 wins if they want to, And I feel like Detroit's in that same kind of situation where it just kind of depends on how they play. They're their worst enemy. Personally, I think we're going to win the division just because I feel like we have better firepower on offense as well as defense. I feel like we have a way better offensive coordinator in Ben Johnson. Guy's a stud. I feel like the divisional games are 100% going to be honestly what decides who takes the division, who goes 4 seed in the playoffs, 3 seed, stuff like that. So I feel like, yeah. But I think we'll take it. Like I said, it's going to be a close finish, but I think we've got it in the bag.
Yeah, look, the Detroit Lions right now, you guys, so far this season, right? You beat Kansas City, which I know Jackson's not very happy about, but that's a tough win, Then you ultimately, you played the Atlanta Falcons right last week. You beat them, right? Again, that was a must-win game. You beat them.
Mm-hmm.
And then you did slip up against Seattle. And fortunately today, we'll actually go to them. Seattle, we got a Seahawks guy on here. So real fast, so Seahawks Orbit runs a page. Seahawks related. What did you see that game, Seahawks?
So I saw a very, intense battle between the Seahawks and the Lions. I think the Lions are a great team this year, and I think they're going to win their division very easily. Jordan Love's lack of experience is eventually going to catch up to him, and that is going to cause the Packers to finish with, I would say, a 9-8, 8-9 type of record, while the Lions finish with I would say 11-6, 12-5 type of record. I just really like what the Lions are building, and I think they could make a very deep run in the playoffs this year.
Okay, so again, in that game though, look, I think the Detroit Lions are that team that can pound you in the face. Clearly that's what Dan Campbell wants to build, but then they also got explosiveness with Jahmyr Gibbs. You got Ross St. Brown, who's going to run those crossers and get you yards and underneath routes and yada, yada. And then you got Sam Laporta, who's going to get you the underneath routes and be really elusive after the catch. And you got all those guys, but really at the end of the day, the offensive line and Dan Campbell want to punch you in the mouth. That's what they want to do, and that's what they're able to do. And if they get a little bit more explosive when a guy named Jamison Williams comes back, right? Oof. Oh my gosh. This team can be really special. So now let's go to another team that the Lions. So we got this one side, right? We talked to the Seahawks that beat the Lions. Now let's talk to a team, the Kansas City Chiefs that they beat the Chiefs. So Jackson, what's your take on the Detroit Lions? Again, this is a tough team, but overall take after watching that game specifically.
Yeah, look, and I saw that game in person, so I got to see, my own 2 eyes and how they're all, lines were functioning. And again, this team, they're coached very well, which I noticed off the get-go. There's not a lot of, dumb penalties that happen with this team. They're very well coached, and like you said, Dan Campbell, he wants to play tough. He wants to, he wants to just drive. He wants to bite those kneecaps. That's like you said, it's one of my favorite sayings. I think this Lions team is really good, and especially this past game against Atlanta, they held them to 6 points, which I think was really important after allowing 37 to Seattle. That the defense was able, just buckle down and hold it in and hold Atlanta to 6 points. But with that being said, we've talked about the Packers on this channel quite a bit, and I've said I think the Packers are going to win the division. So I feel like I kind of have to stay right there. We're going to find out on Thursday night how these two teams match up against each other, because they are going to be matching up on prime time. It's going to be a really good game. It's going to be very important to the future of the division. I think it comes down to these two teams. You know, the Vikings, they're really talented offensively, but 0-3, it's going to be hard for them to climb out of that hole. But again, they're very capable of doing that. But overall, I think it comes down to the Lions and the Packers, and I'm going to stick with my prediction of the Packers.
There you go. I mean, again, I like the honesty. I mean, look, I mean, like you just said, you got the Packers and the and the Lions coming up toe to toe this week on Thursday night, 8:15 p.m. Eastern start. I can't wait. That's a game again. You know, last week I said I don't want to touch the Saints and Packers game. I'm not putting any money on that game that I did, and I picked the Saints, and I'm crying. And this is a game I'm saying I'm not going to put money on, but I got a profit boost the other night, so I am. And I'm so up in the air. I'm probably going to go Detroit for this one, but that doesn't mean they're necessarily going to win the division. I do think when Jameis Williams comes back, there's a good shot that this team ultimately does win the division. You know, to start the year, I didn't think Detroit. I thought that Detroit Lions, and again, I love Dan Campbell and everything, but I did think that Detroit Lions were getting a little bit too much hype. And I know that sounds weird because, you know, but everybody was on the Detroit Lions train. Everybody wants to see Dan Campbell succeed and everything. I think that they're getting overhyped a little bit. You know, but honestly, you look at what they've done. I mean, they beat the Chiefs, which I wouldn't have expected. They beat the Falcons, which I would have. And they lost to the Seahawks, which, I mean, again, going into the season, I think most people would say Detroit, you know, with the hype that they were getting, should have beat Seattle. The Green Bay Packers game is going to be a big one. This one can go either way. I mean, the odds are right down the middle. It's really, you know, it's up in the air. I'm interested to see what's going to happen. Now let's go to a Packers fan. This is perfect. This video, we literally got every one of your opponents. Tyler, you're a Packers guy. You know, we did predict the season for the Packers a long time ago. What do you think you're going to see from the Detroit Lions this Thursday?
Oh, boy. Well, Thursday night definitely doesn't help us with the injuries, though I did hear that Christian Watson and Aaron Jones will likely be coming back, which makes this matchup all the more exciting. And this could actually be a Thursday night football game that doesn't suck. So, woohoo. But I think it is going to be a very close game. I think it will be decided by 4 points or less. And I did have my prediction. I did have Detroit and Green Bay splitting, but I had both winning on the road. I had Detroit winning in Green Bay, and I had Green Bay winning in Detroit, and I'm going to stick by that. Obviously, I hope we win. Obviously. It's in Green Bay. I know we're a little ecstatic after coming back against the Saints without half our roster. So I do think we do have a chance in this game. I am going to stick with my prediction that Detroit wins, but obviously I'm hoping for the other way, obviously. But I'm going to stick by what I said, and that's final.
Yeah, I mean, again, I had you guys starting the season 3-1 and really starting the season 4-1, but you guys ultimately lose. I mean, you guys ultimately won the game against New Orleans, which I didn't think you would. And right now you guys are sitting at a, you know what I mean, like a 2-1 record, which is kind of, you know, that's right where I had you going. I mean, I had you guys going 2-1. I just would have expected that you guys would have beat Atlanta and lost to New Orleans. And honestly, you know, you probably should have lost to New Orleans. And the Atlanta game, I'm not happy about that one for you guys. But this Detroit Lions game, I had this as a win. I did have this one as a win. But right now, you know what I mean? I'm going to say that I was probably wrong. You can't lose to Atlanta. You can't lose to Atlanta and expect to beat Detroit. You can't do that. And I'm going to go with the same as going for with looking at the Saints. I mean, again, that's a game that you win, right? It goes out as a win on the win column. But at the end of the day, you probably had no business winning that game either, going down 17-0. Noah, going back to you, okay? Because you're ultimately the guy. Again, I just want to be real clear. We're going to go around the room real fast.
180. 180, set.
Are they winning the division? Yes or no? One more time.
I'm taking a yeah. I'm going to say yeah. I think we got it.
Jackson, fresh start. Yes or no?
You're saying I get a fresh start, but I'm still gonna, go off what I said previously. I'm gonna say Green Bay Packers.
Yes, I say I appreciate that. And again, I mean, you can kind of change with what you're saying, just admit that you were wrong, but you're staying with Green Bay. I like to hear. All right. Seahawks, what do you got?
I got the Lions 1,000% winning that division. The Packers are eventually going to fall off the cliff.
No question then. Nobody in this division makes a wild card, Seahawks?
I don't think so. No.
Okay. And
like the Bears are.
Say it again.
And I think I saw like a statistic that said like there's only 4 teams in like a certain amount of years that started 0-3 that actually ended up making the playoffs at all.
For sure. Absolutely.
And so actually really.
No, it is. I mean, 0-3 is not a good start. I mean, it's going to be tough. The only team that I can see possibly crawling out of it in this division will be the Vikings, right? The Bears aren't coming out of it. Last but not least, Tyler, what do you got?
I'm going to say Detroit wins the division. Obviously, I want Green Bay to win the division, but look, a wild card would make me happy. Anything more would be a bonus.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, I'm going to be honest with you. You got 2 tough teams in the Vikings and the Lions. I mean, and the Packers, right? Knocking at your back door. But looking at it right now, I mean, you're sitting at 2-1, right? You got the Packers on Thursday. That's going to be a huge, huge game. A loss there can completely change everything. But I'm going to say this right now. With the chance, I mean, with, Jameson Williams coming back soon and everything kind of looking up right now, you beat the Chiefs, which is a tough team to beat. You lose to Seattle, which, again, I wouldn't want to say that, like, you want to win that game, right? 6-point game, okay? But you want to win that one. Looking forward, man, I mean, you got a wishy-washy schedule. I mean, you got Green Bay, you got to win that one. You got Carolina, you're probably going to win that one. Tampa's tough this year. As bad as we all thought they were going to be, they're tough. So, again, but you got to win that one. Baltimore, you may lose that one. Still a winnable game. Still a winnable game. Las Vegas, got that one in the bag. LA Chargers, tough. That's a tough one. Chicago, division opponent, who knows? They can see what I don't see it happening. Green Bay again. New Orleans is tough. Okay, New Orleans is tough, especially if Derek Carr's back. And again, you play him in December. I don't know if that one is in Detroit or New Orleans. Is anybody? The last one was
in New Orleans.
Yeah, it's in Louisiana.
So, I mean, that one's definitely going to be, going to be more sided towards them because it's not going to be in cold weather in Detroit in December. And then you got the other few games. You got the Bears, the Broncos. Broncos should probably be a win. The Vikings are tough. Dallas is going to be tough. And then you end the year again with Minnesota. So ultimately, what do I think? I think that you guys win this division. Right now, looking at it, I do think you win the division. I don't know if I would have said that at the beginning of the year. Minnesota, I think, is really falling off right now. And who's the other team? And the
Chicago.
I had the Packers going 9-8, in the offseason. So I still feel like they'll be right around that spot. But I will say, as of right now, I will go with the Detroit Lions winning the NFC North. That's all from us. Anything else, Noah, specifically? I'll leave this to you since this is your last video here with us today.
Just before I leave, I'll say I think if we do win the division, I think it's going to be, the defense is what's going to win us the division. It showed against Atlanta. We had 7 total sacks. We had 6 different players produce a sack. I know Atlanta's offensive line isn't phenomenal, but they do have some pretty good guys. They got Jake Matthews is at least a pretty good offensive lineman. So they have a lot of good guys that can make blocks for them. It's just you can't take the sacks like that. And if the defense can continue to produce like that and continue to get turnovers, 4th down, 3rd down stops, stuff like that, that's what's going to win us games. That's what's going to win us the division. And if we make playoffs, that's what's going to win us playoff games. The offense can put up 30 points a game, but when the defense plays like we did against Seattle, there's nothing you can do about it. So that's all for me, guys.
No, that's it. And listen, I'm going to say this again. When Jameson Williams comes back and you have your running back, Jahmyr Gibbs, that offense is only going to get more explosive, which is going to really help out this team, make it strong. I'm
excited, man.
End of the year and also into the playoffs. That's all from us for this episode. We're going to go on to the next one. See you guys soon. Peace. We are
Built Better.
Better.